For $40, this is an absolutely incredible bourbon. You're not going to find a $40 bourbon that can hold up to this, I promise you. 1792 Bottled in Bond by the Barton Distillery is 100 proof, 50% alcohol. It is an undisclosed mash bill, but is thought to be 74% corn, 18% rye, and 8% malted barley. An absolutely incredible bottle. I cannot say enough good things about this thing, and the price is to die for if you can find it. We'll get into that later, but hope you enjoyed this review as much as I enjoyed this whiskey, and as always, cheers. It's been a while, but we're finally doing another review. 1792 Bottled in Bond. And by the way, I'm on vacation. Forgot to pack a flannel, so you get the awesome sleeveless hoodie. How lucky are you? Before I start nosing this, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I'm at 1,000. Thank you guys so much for making me hit that 1K. Next week will be my 1,000 subscriber milestone video. And as always, make sure you like it. All right, let's get into this nose. 50% incredibly smooth nose. As always, the classic caramel, brown sugar, oak spice bourbon. Now this is a no age statement, but minimum of 4 years for this guy. Really nice tandem, nice layering. Nothing here singes the nose hairs, none of that. It is an extremely inviting nose. Really makes you want to have it. At 12.5% less than my full proof of the same guy, it really, I think, keeps that same flavor oomph with none of the burn. This is so full flavored, but at 50%. And I like that as my sweet spot for my ABVs. I am a high proof lover, but when it comes to these noses, when you get like over 46 and like under 55, I really appreciate more of the less burn but full flavors here. Cherries, little fruity, some graham crackers, nothing crazy. Very well balanced here. But because of the 50% no age statement, it's not as, complex as you probably could have from other bourbons. So I think, even though I glowed about the nose, I'm gonna give the nose 3.5. It's fine across the board, has a couple of good things going for it, but there's nothing there that's like, yeah, I want to drink that and see what that tastes like. It's just, there's a nice bourbon. Let's have a sip maybe. So 3.5 on the nose. Let's see if the palate's gonna be any better. Okay, palate time. It's gonna be a little bit of a medium-bodied whiskey that's kind of fast legs there. Get this thing in. Just as smooth as the nose, just a small little bit of pepper pop. Definitely have that rye influence, but that sip right there, really nice Granny Smith green apples with a touch of caramel on top. Very fruity, little tart with some sweetness. I love that. Didn't get a whole lot of apple vibes from the nose, but it's very prevalent on this palate here. I feel like I just went to the caramel apple stand at the carnival. Very fruity, very rich on the caramel. Definitely have that oak spice influence. It's drinking a little higher than 50. I'd say it's probably being close to 56% here. It's warming me up really nicely, and it's already like 77 degrees outside, and I'm wearing a sleeveless hoodie, so I'm gonna start sweating probably. But this is very good. Very well balanced. That's the word for this whiskey today, I think, is balance. All of these notes are really playing nicely together, and you can pick each one of them out. Nothing is overbearing in any other ones. It just depends on where you're putting your tongue and where the whiskey is in your mouth. You're getting those different flavors, and I think that's nice and that's fun because that's a nice little session dram. This is a great session dram. This is going to change over time. And 2 sips in, I've gotten a lot more sweetness. That first sip was tart. This sip is sweet. Let's go for the 3rd sip. That had just a little bit more oak spice there. Now I'm sipping really quickly between these because obviously I'm recording, but you could be able to sit here for a nice 90 minutes with this guy, and all that oxygen, it would just go nicely and change the chemistry of this whiskey. Get some water, drop that in. I left my pipette at home, can't do it to this one, I'm sorry, but this is a very solid palate, so I'm gonna give this palate a 4. Very sippable, very layered, very balanced, has a lot of nice notes to it. This is very good. Does not burn. So 4 on the palate. Look at that finish. Okay, so it's been about a minute or two, and I think this finish is lasting very long for a 100 proof whiskey. It is very prevalent on the apples, the caramel, and a hint of vanilla there. There is not any rye pops or pepper sticking around. It is all the really nice notes that you like. I know some people do not like ryes. I really enjoy them. But if you're worried about the high rye mash bill, don't be, because I didn't get any of that really on the nose or the palate, and for the finish, it is really just nice, sweet, tart fruit notes here. So I'm gonna give the finish a 4.5. Man, this is really nice. This is actually sitting around better than some other higher proof whiskeys that I have. I don't know what it is about this. I don't know if it's the mash bill or the barrels for this specific bottle, but man, it is really hitting on all cylinders here for this finish. The only thing I would say is I actually would want some rye on my tongue here during the finish, because again, I enjoy me some rye. Like some of those nutmeg, cinnamon, maybe those graham crackery kind of notes that I usually get out of some of those rye. But because I don't get any of those, I'm gonna dock it half a point, but 4.5 on the finish is excellent. It's getting to that value. The value for this guy is a little weird. For me, I got this from a friend in Colorado who found it for MSRP. MSRP for this guy was $40. And for $40, this is an absolutely incredible bourbon. You're not going to find a $40 bourbon that could hold up to this, I promise you. So because of the $40 price tag and MSRP, I would give that a 5. However, this is unfortunately allocated out the wazoo, and some places are a bunch of turds and like to do 2 or 3 times MSRP to really gouge the buyer and really stick it to them, because you know that's screw us, right? So if you find it for $80 or $120, don't buy it. Number one, you are doing exactly what the liquor store wants you to do, is overpay for it. Don't give them that satisfaction. It is not worth that much money. I think the absolute most you should spend on this bottle, if you're curious about it, because I am glowing about it, would be about $60. But the full proof should also retail at $60. So that's really a little bit of a conundrum here. If it wasn't allocated, if stores weren't a bunch of turds and it's always $40 and you found it everywhere, that is absolutely a 5. So because I got it for that price, I'm going to give it a 5, because I cannot think of another $40 whiskey, or at least in the bourbon world, that quite hits this. Smooth Ambler Old Scout is around $40, but I think the extra rye and less corn in their mash bill doesn't really let it hold up here. It is 49.5% alcohol, so it's very close here, but I just don't think that whiskey stands up to it. I have also reviewed that, so may have to come back to that. But anyway, 5 on the value there. Again, if you're gonna find it for MSRP, or double MSRP rather, or triple, that value goes to a 1 or a 2, because again, it just is not worth that. Overall, looks like 17 out of 20. Great score. Like I said, this is one of the best value bourbons you will ever find at $40. That is if you can find it, and that is if a liquor store owner is not being a turd and doing double or triple MSRP. But if you see one and it's $40, do yourself a favor and grab it. This is great. 17, solid score, great bourbon. Okay, it's been a while. We got wife back, and the last whiskey I did, the Antique 107, she liked. Do not think it's gonna happen again, but I did get some nice apple stuff out of here, so give this thing a sniff and let's see what you think. Didn't like that, did she? No, no, no. Immediate thoughts.
No.
What's wrong with it?
No, it's strong.
Strong, okay. Here's the thing about that though. The Antique 107 is more alcohol than this. So I think again for her, with bourbons at least, the rye in the mash bill is not a go. If you know anything about Weller, they are a wheated bourbon. So if she wants to get into more bourbons, I gotta find more wheated bourbons for her. So that is now my quest. But anyway, like this video, give it a like. Not subscribed yet, make sure you do. So that way you get this video and every other Wednesday video. And as always, see you next time, and cheers.